Hi everyone, and welcome to our informational webinar, How to Apply to Teach in the USA with EPI. My name is Jessica, and today I will be talking to you about EPI's application process. Before we get started, take the time to introduce yourself, tell us where you're from, and what you are currently teaching. Personally, I'm from the mountains of North Carolina, and before working with EPI, I taught English at the community college level. You can also use the comment box to leave any questions that you have. At the end of our presentation, we'll be answering any questions that you leave with us. So don't feel like you have to save your questions till the end. You can leave the comments at any time. Today we will be talking about how to apply to teach in the U.S. with Educational Partners International. During this webinar, we will be going over how to start your application and what documents you will need for it. We will also explain the purpose of the application and give you some tips that will make the application process go as smoothly as possible. If you are joining us for the first time, we are Educational Partners International, or EPI for short, and we are a cultural exchange program that brings international teachers to teach in K-12 schools in the United States. Our mission is to bring some of the best teachers from around the world to come to the U.S. to share their cultural experiences. As you can read here, our goal is to strengthen K-12 education by discovering and empowering the world's best international teachers to facilitate authentic cultural exchange. The results include teachers and students that become lifelong learners, embrace 21st century skills, and serve as change agents in an interconnected world of global understanding. Our process for bringing teachers like you to the United States looks like this. First, you complete an application so that we know you are eligible for our program and will be a strong candidate for cultural exchange. The application process includes filling out a thorough online form, uploading official documents, and 2 interviews with EPI team members. After you've completed the application process, you are moved to the approved stage, where you interview with principals at one of our partnered schools. Once you complete a successful school interview, you are placed in the school and become an official EPI program member. So let's take a closer look at the first step in the process, the application. EPI's application process is thorough, but it does a few important things for you. First, filling out the application creates a professional profile for school principals to look at when they are considering teachers for interviews. We also use this information to decide whether or not you meet our eligibility requirements. Some of the requirements for being an EPI teacher are that you are currently teaching, you have 2 years full-time teaching experience, and that you have the equivalent of a U.S. bachelor's degree. Finally, the application helps you collect the documents that you will need to get a visa, travel to the United States, and to get a teaching license. So you have read about EPI and our requirements, and you have decided that you want to apply to teach in the USA. Now, how do you get started? Well, the first step is to go to our website, teachwithepi.com/teachers. Once you are there, you will scroll down until you see the orange button that says click here to apply. Then you will need to answer some questions about your eligibility. After you answer the questions and click submit, you will be able to create an account with your email address and start your application. When you start your application, it is important that you prioritize completing as much of your personal and professional profile as soon as possible so that you can quickly move to the next application stage. EPI's application requires documentation to be sure that you are able to travel and teach in the United States. So what documents will you need to get to complete your application? Well, here is a complete list of the documents you will need to upload to your application before you are eligible for principal interviews. We ask for copies of all pages of your passport, diplomas, transcripts, criminal background checks from every country that you have lived in the past 5 years, proof of employment for each teaching position since your bachelor's degree, and a credential evaluation from an NACES approved company. If you have a valid driver's license and wish to drive in the United States, we will also need a copy of your driver's license. But driving is not a requirement for the program, so if you don't have one, that is okay. In addition to these documents, you will need to upload certified translations of diplomas and transcripts. You will also need certified translations of your criminal record check if it is in a language other than English or Spanish. When you are first starting your application, you should prioritize uploading your passport pages, diplomas, and transcripts because we will need these documents before we can invite you for interviews with EPI team members. When you're uploading your documents, it is important that you make sure the uploads are of good quality so that we can read them. If your uploads are not quality copies, we will have to ask you to re-upload them, which will make the application process longer. Your uploaded documents should be scans, not pictures. If you don't have a scanner, we recommend the phone app Tiny Scanner for easily getting quality scans of your documents. You will also need to be sure that your scans are full color copies and easy to read. Easy to read means that the image is not blurry, there is no glare or shadow on the scan, and that the whole document is visible. Also, when you are uploading your documents, be sure that you are uploading them to the correct portion of the application. We may not be able to find your documents if you upload them in the incorrect section, so double check to be sure that you are uploading them to the correct part. One of the most common questions our candidates ask about the application process is how long does it take? As we've already stated, the application process includes processing all of your documents and 2 interviews with the EPI team members. So how long the process takes depends on how quickly you can collect and upload the appropriate documents and schedule interviews with EPI team members. So here are some tips on what you can do to make sure the application process goes as quickly and smoothly as possible. First, you should read all of our requirements before you apply. You can find our requirements at teachwithepi.com/teacher requirements. When completing the application, you will need to be sure to read and follow all directions on the application carefully. You will also want to proofread all answers on your application, as any typos or mistakes made with spelling and dates can make the process take longer. When you apply to EPI, be sure you upload all of your documents directly to your application on the website. We do not open any attachments sent through email, so the only way to get your documents processed is to upload them to the website. Also, when you upload your documents, be sure to click the Save button at the bottom of the page, or else it will not save the documents that you've uploaded. Finally, when you create your account, be sure you do so with a valid email address and to check that email address regularly. We are only able to discuss your application through email, so it is important that you are looking for emails from EPI about your application status and any updates on what you need. So now it's time for questions. I will be answering any questions that you have left in the comments. If you haven't submitted your questions yet, go ahead and ask them now. Also, you can take this time to tell us about yourself. We would love to know where you are from and what you teach. It looks like we've already heard from teachers from the Philippines, Mexico, Jamaica, as well as other countries. So to get started, one of the common questions that we get is there an application fee? So no, EPI does not charge you an application fee to start the application, but you will be responsible for paying for documents associated with your application, such as certified translations or the criminal record check. Another question we commonly get is, what will I be asked in my EPI interviews? So EPI does 2 interviews. The first interview is a brief interview, and in that one we will ask you questions about your teaching experience and some legal questions to check your eligibility for the program. The second interview is a longer, more traditional interview, and we'll ask you questions about your specific teaching style. So those questions include lesson planning, classroom management, and how you use differentiation in the classroom. Another question we get is, when does the position start? So we only place teachers at the beginning of the school year in the United States. The school year begins typically in August. So right now we are accepting applications to place teachers for August 2018. Another question we seem to have gotten is, how long can I stay in the U.S.? So EPI is a 3-year program. At the end of 3 years, you can apply for a 2-year extension. So that means the longest you can stay in the United States with the EPI is 5 years. And then at the end of those 5 years, since you will be a J1 visa holder, you will have to return to your home country for at least 2 years. Can my family come with me? Yes, we do sponsor J2 visas. So J2 visas are for immediate family members, which is your spouse or your children. And when you're asking to apply for a J2 visa, just consider whether or not you will be able to financially support your family once you get to the United States. It looks like we got asked, how can I apply? So to apply, just go to teachwithepi.com and scroll down until you see the orange button that says apply now. Click that orange button, and then you'll answer some eligibility questions, click submit, and then you will make your account and start your application. So one of our requirements is English fluency, and a question we often get is, how will my English fluency be evaluated? So we kind of evaluate your English fluency through all communication that we have with you through the application process, but where we evaluate it the most is in the interviews. That's where we really judge to see if you are a fluent English speaker. It looks like the question we got is, are you legit? So we are sponsored, or we are designated by the U.S. Department of State as a J1 visa sponsor. So we are Department of State approved, which I guess is about as legit as you can be. All right, so last question, when is the deadline to apply? We do not have a deadline. You can apply at any time through the application process. However, because, as I've already said, the process can take a long time with collecting documents, we recommend that you get started as soon as possible if you want to get placed in August 2018. But we have had teachers in the past apply in July and be able to get everything together and get placed in August. It's just not an ideal situation. So that's all the time we have for now, but if we didn't get to your questions or you have more questions, just leave them in the comment section and we will respond to the questions in the comment section directly on Facebook at the end of our broadcast today. So now that you know more about how to apply, let's talk about next steps. First, if you have not applied yet, go to teachwithepi.com and start the application process. If you have started the application but have questions about how to continue your application, email us at team@teachwithepi.com with your questions. That is the only place that we will be able to answer questions about your specific application, so be sure to send your questions there. Finally, follow us on Facebook to get updates on our program and our teachers and to watch all of our future webinars. To finish off our presentation today, I would like to leave you with this quote as a reminder of why cultural exchange is so important and why we are so eager to bring teachers like you to the United States. J. William Fulbright was a U.S. Senator and the founder of the Fulbright program. He said, "The essence of intercultural education is the acquisition of empathy, the ability to see the world as others see it, and to allow for the possibility that others may see something that we have failed to see or may see it more accurately." We are dedicated to helping teachers like you come to the U.S. so that we may learn from each other's unique perspectives, just like Fulbright talks about here. Okay, so that's all for today, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. If you have any further questions, please email us at team@teachwithepi.com. Have a good day, everyone.